There are wars you prepare for. You sharpen yourself, you plan, you show up alert. And then there are wars you never announce. No enemy, no battlefield, no witnesses, no moment that feels important. And yet, these are the wars most people lose, not in crisis, not in pain, not in chaos, but in comfort, in silence, in routine. Because discipline is not tested when life is loud. It is tested when nothing demands your attention, when the phone is near, when the bed is warm, when the deadline is far away, when no one will ever know. This is the war you lose when no one is watching. The Bible does not begin discipline with victory. It begins with obedience and obscurity. Before David faced Goliath, he faced days no one recorded. Before Jesus spoke to crowds, he faced the wilderness alone. And before any meaningful life is built, there is a season where nothing happens except who you are becoming. Most people fail there, not because they are weak, but because they don't see it as a war. The most dangerous wars do not announce themselves. They do not arrive with violence, alarms, or visible destruction. They arrive quietly, disguised as normal life. That is why most people do not realize they are losing. Losing does not feel like pain at first. It feels like comfort. It feels like delay. It feels like telling yourself there is time. No one wakes up deciding to destroy their future. They wake up deciding to postpone discipline. One missed commitment, one ignored responsibility, one small excuse repeated often enough to feel true. The Bible rarely describes downfall as sudden. It describes it as forgetting the law, forgetting the covenant, forgetting who you are supposed to be. Stoic philosophers warned not of chaos, but of negligence. Because negligence feels harmless. It feels earned. It feels justified. But every undisciplined moment trains the mind to accept weakness as normal. You do not feel defeated when you scroll instead of act. You do not feel defeated when you avoid discomfort. Yet discipline is not measured in moments of pressure. It is measured in moments where nothing forces you to choose correctly. This is where most lives quietly collapse, not through dramatic failure, but through the slow erosion of standards. The war is already happening. Most people simply don't recognize the battlefield. Every human being lives with two identities: the public self, visible to others, and the private self, known only in silence. The public self performs, speaks, promises, and displays intention. The private self decides whether any of it is real. This is where discipline either exists or collapses. Jesus consistently warned against public righteousness without private obedience. Not because visibility is wrong, but because division is fatal. A life split between appearance and truth creates inner tension. Stoics describe this as fragmentation, the gap between values and actions. The wider that gap becomes, the heavier the soul feels. This is why many people are exhausted without understanding why. Their bodies know they are lying before their minds admit it. Discipline resolves this fracture. It aligns who you claim to be with what you do when no one is watching. No audience will ever see the decision to rise early. No one will applaud resistance to temptation. No one will track whether you honor commitments made only to yourself. Yet these moments decide everything. Public success is always built on private obedience. There is no exception. If discipline does not exist in solitude, it does not exist at all. The war is not fought in front of others, it is fought where excuses feel safest. The story of David and Goliath is often misunderstood. People focus on the stone, the giant, the victory. But Scripture places far more importance on what came before. David was not trained on a battlefield, he was shaped in obscurity. While others prepared for war, David guarded sheep, a task without honor, without recognition, without applause. Yet this was not wasted time. It was discipline disguised as insignificance. When predators came, no crowd gathered, no one recorded his courage. Still, he acted with responsibility because discipline does not depend on visibility. Stoic philosophy teaches that character is forged through repetition under boredom, not intensity under pressure. David did not suddenly become brave. He practiced faithfulness in small, unseen duties until courage became instinct. When Goliath appeared, the battle had already been decided years earlier. The public victory was merely the result of private obedience. This is the part most people reject. They want the visible triumph without invisible preparation. But discipline grows only where ego dies. David won because he refused to despise small responsibilities. The war he won publicly was first conquered in isolation. Before Jesus healed crowds, he faced silence. Before miracles, he faced hunger. The wilderness was not punishment, it was preparation. No audience followed him there, no validation waited, only temptation, discomfort, and time. This is where discipline is exposed. The devil did not challenge Jesus with destruction. He challenged him with shortcuts. Relief without obedience, power without restraint, reward without process. These are the same offers made today. Comfort without growth, success without sacrifice, identity without discipline. Jesus responded not with emotion but with restraint. Each answer was rooted in obedience rather than desire. Stoics understood this as mastery of impulse, not removing desire but governing it. The wilderness reveals who controls you, your principles or your appetites. Most people fail here because isolation removes accountability. When no one is watching, discipline must come from identity. The person who cannot endure private discomfort will eventually compromise publicly. The wilderness is not where faith disappears. It is where discipline is proven real or exposed as performance. Modern life confuses comfort with restoration. Rest is intentional. Comfort is passive. Rest strengthens, comfort weakens. The Bible speaks of Sabbath, not indulgence. Sabbath restores order. Comfort removes resistance. Stoic philosophers practiced voluntary discomfort to remind themselves that ease was not a requirement for peace. Today, discomfort is treated as danger, avoided, medicinalized, explained away. But a life without resistance cannot produce strength. Every avoided difficulty reinforces fragility. Comfort tells you that you deserve relief before growth. Discipline reminds you that growth creates lasting peace. The war lost quietly is the refusal to endure minor hardships. Cold mornings, delayed gratification, uncelebrated effort. These moments appear insignificant, yet they build resilience. Comfort whispers that you have done enough. Discipline answers that responsibility remains. A disciplined life does not reject rest. It chooses it deliberately, not as escape. Comfort numbs, rest restores. One prepares you for the future, the other slowly erodes your capacity to face it. No one becomes undisciplined suddenly. It is practiced, rehearsed, reinforced. Every ignored responsibility trains avoidance. Every delayed task strengthens hesitation. Every excuse repeated becomes belief. Over time, you stop trusting yourself. This is the true damage of losing the invisible war. Not failure, but self-betrayal. Stoic philosophy emphasized self-respect as the reward of discipline. You earn confidence by keeping promises made to yourself. Scripture echoes this truth. Faithfulness in small things builds authority over greater ones. When small actions are dismissed, identity erodes. You begin to see yourself as unreliable, weak, inconsistent. This belief then shapes behavior, creating a cycle that feels impossible to escape. Discipline breaks this cycle not through intensity but consistency. One kept promise restores integrity. One completed task rebuilds trust. The war is not won through dramatic transformation. It is won by refusing to accept small defeats as harmless. Every decision leaves a mark. Over time, those marks become identity. Discipline cannot survive as a temporary strategy. Effort fades, emotion fluctuates, identity remains. When discipline becomes identity, decisions simplify. You no longer negotiate with weakness. You act according to who you are becoming. Jesus did not debate temptation emotionally. He answered from identity. Stoic philosophy describes this as living in accordance with principle, not reacting, but aligning. Discipline is not about forcing yourself endlessly. It is about shaping a self that no longer considers certain actions optional. When discipline is identity, temptation loses power. Not because it disappears, but because it no longer fits who you are. This is the end goal of the invisible war, not perfection, but alignment. When who you are privately matches who you claim to be publicly, peace emerges. Discipline stops feeling like resistance and starts feeling like truth. The war quiets, and victory becomes stable. The war you lose when no one is watching is not dramatic. There is no collapse, no explosion, just distance. Distance from who you could have been. Discipline brings you back, not loudly, not instantly, but faithfully. One decision, one morning, one refusal, one act of obedience. No applause, no recognition, just truth. And in time, that truth becomes strength. Because between comfort and destiny there is discipline, and the war is decided long before anyone sees the outcome.